Welcome to the live stream. Sorry, I got a little distracted towards the end because I had the Skycam on and really excited to be with you tonight. It's been a crazy month so far. July, half over almost, 3 days away from kind of the hump of the month. Welcome. If you are with me live tonight, please say hi in the chat. I do have subscribe only chat on. So consider subscribing tonight if you haven't already. And in about 5 minutes, you'll be able to chat. Obviously, there's people out there that are diving into some of these live streams and doing and saying some things, and just gives me a little bit more reassurance that if you really want to be here, you can. And we would love to have you. And got lots of stuff to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about audio interfaces for live streaming. Had the still image up tonight in the still. Hopefully you guys saw that. And we're going to talk about some of the audio interfaces that I have, as well as some that other people have, people that I've been watching on social media. In fact, in reality, tonight in the notes, I already have links to some videos. And a couple of those people that are in the links have actually attended the live streams, and that's exciting to me. So please make sure you say hi. Let me turn my camera off here, my Skycam, and turn chat on, and then we can put it on the air. Let me clear this and go on the air here. And again, there is, come on, chat on the air. What's the story here? I didn't put anything on the air, that's why. So it's good to have Freddie here tonight. Thank you for joining me, Freddie. As always, it's great to see you. Tonight we also have, let's see here. I'm just going down through the chat. There we go. Hank is here, and he says, good afternoon, Keith. It's almost 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time, or almost 12 midnight. And is that where you are located? Let me know, Hank, in the chat. That would be cool. So far in the chat, it's just the two of us. But again, it's summertime. And every year that I've live streamed in the summer, obviously, things change. People have the ability, and it's not summer basically everywhere. It's summer here in the United States. And so maybe where you're at, it's a different season. Let us know in the chat tonight what season you're in. But we're just a few days away from the center of the summer, and so it'll start getting darker earlier as time goes by. And we also live in a state where we do daylight savings time, so literally we are saving a little nighttime. So instead of it getting dark an hour early, it's getting dark an hour later, which gives us lots of time to stay out at night. And it's kind of interesting how that affects you. So you know, we could talk maybe one night about that. So let's just go through here. Freddie, yes, I do have a new Batman to unbox. We're going to do that here in a little bit. I want to continue to go through the chat here. Thank you for letting me know, Freddie, that the audio sounds good. So that is 7:03 p.m. in Bluffton, South Carolina. Well, it's good to have you here. Hopefully some other people will join us. Again, if you can't chat, it's because I do have subscribe only on. So if you do subscribe, you will be able to chat in about 5 minutes. And we'd love to have you join the chat. I'm using Aaron Precky's pop-out extension that he kind of rewrote. Someone else created one. There's actually a newer one that does even more. You can use it, I think, on Facebook and some of the other social media platforms, but it's a Chrome plugin. So once you have that plugin, then you can pop out chat on the YouTube app. So when you go live, you have the ability to, you know, type in your chat inside the regular chat screen, or if you go to the very top, you can pop the chat out. And then once you pop the chat out, with Aaron Precky's little extension, you can then copy the URL, bring it into OBS, and then OBS, then you can display it on the screen, because in reality, it will just display it. You will have to mess with your settings if you're using an ATEM or whatever you stream with, but it's cool. And I do have a video series here on the channel about popping out the chat because I just like to help other live streamers. I've got lots of help from other people, and I sure appreciate it. So that's kind of why I did that. So, okay, so let's just go through here. I did reach out to one of our normal attendees, and it's going to be a little bit late, but I do want to, if he comes in, I do want to do a little shout out and cover a product that he covered on his channel. Again, that link is here as well. Freddie says he really likes tonight's topic. Well, that's cool, Freddie. I'm glad that you like that. We're going to get the little Batman bobblehead unboxing out of the way. Then we're going to dive into the conversation about audio interfaces. I'm torn all the time because many of you guys know I have the new Rodecaster Pro 2 in the studio. And if I wasn't so busy with this current client that's now taking 3 or 4 days a week and maybe even more this next week, I would be able to finish some of my unboxing videos. I did unbox the lid. So it's just silent unboxing here on the channel, but this is the Rodecaster Pro cover. It's called the Rode Cover Pro, I think. And you can get this right from Rode's site, order it online, but that covers my new Rodecaster Pro version 2, which I'm still learning how to use. Again, I haven't spent near as much time in the studio, and we'll talk a little bit about that. My old Rodecaster Pro I have here. My sound devices Mix Pre 6 I have here in the studio. We're going to talk about some other interfaces and share a couple of people that I really admire and I follow here on YouTube, and I hope you would consider following them as well. Okay, well, thank you so much, guys, for joining us, and let's get this thing out. Many of you guys know I have the Batman display in the back that I did. That's the Batman 2022, and so kind of have that display. I brought it over here during the intro video. I was going to show it to you. I just re-glued Batman on there, and he came unglued, bringing him over here. I tried to do it quickly before tonight's live stream. One of my grandkids was over, and he decided he wanted to play with that little Batman. So I came in here, and Batman was laying on the chair back there, not on the display. So I re-glued it, but I must not have done a very good job tonight because it came off. But so I did that display, and I've kind of been collecting different things in here just to make it fun here in the studio. You can see I have the Batman book above my head. I've got the Bigfoot, the hide-and-seek champion of the world, my little Bigfoot right there with a light behind him. That's the Bigfoot my son got me when he was on the Oregon coast here recently. And then obviously more Batman stuff there, the Batman display there, which is kind of a remake of that scene from the Batman movie. But I like to get online and see what's available and to add to my display. And my wife always says, do you have room? And I really am running out of room on my shelves. I'm thinking about relaying out the studio just because I like changing things up. So we may do something different in the future. But this just came in the mail today, so I thought I would unbox it right here with you guys. So thank you for joining me. So I'm going to get out of the box. Now, I haven't opened it yet. It doesn't have any kind of tape on it, but I'm going to get it out right now. And it's just a bobblehead. This is a bobblehead. Here's the box. And actually, I should do this just a little differently. So let me switch over here to my overhead cam. And, oh, that didn't work very good. Chat off the air. What did I do? Oh, my camera timed out. Sorry about that. Let's get that camera back on. Again, that's still my 5D Mark III. Switch back to it. Okay, so we'll move the mouse over. And let's set this on the desk. Let me tilt this up. You're not going to see me. You're going to see just my hands here in a minute. But here's the back of the box. And it is a Royal Bobbles. It says right here, I'll show you guys the bigger logo. That's semi-focused. And then here's the front logo, which I love. Let's turn that right side up. That's the Batman logo. And it's on both sides of the box. And then they have this little information on both sides of the box. Nothing super fancy, but you can see that. So we're going to open this up here now. And get the foam to come out. And now you have tape inside. And just going to pull this off on both sides. Gonna make a mess on my desk. Let's just take this off, throw it in the trash. There we go, all plastic up. And pretty hefty, nice quality. I'm surprised. I figured it would be all plastic. And so you get this out, and then I'm gonna change cameras here, and then I'll hold it up. But there you can see, and he's got this to protect his neck. So let's switch this back over here. And I'll get this out and see if I can undo this without taking his head off. There we go. That can go down here in the trash. And so there you go. And he's bobbling away. And you can kind of see that display. And that is going to go right up on my display. And it's really quality. I will put a link here, associate link. And if you do decide to get this and add it to your collection and you use those links, I do get some kickback. So I appreciate that. But you pay the same. So I don't have any links yet tonight. I'll do that later tonight, but it's really cool. I'm really impressed with that. Switch cameras again, give you guys a little bit better look. And let me bring my full-size camera on here. Yeah, focus isn't that bad. And there it is. You can see it's pretty cool looking. So that's going to go on my shelf and clean up the mess here. Cut back to this camera. So I just wanted to unbox that for you guys. Thank you for showing up. I'm not really doing a channel that has anything to do with that kind of stuff, but I do like to share it with my live audience. I'm not doing a post show tonight. I wasn't going to wait another week. Normally I'd probably bring this out in the post show. So I'm going to set him up here. Let's see, I'm going to put him on my computer right here. And that's looking pretty cool. The other thing I got out tonight was this lens, right? It's not really a lens, it's actually a cup. I think this is cool. I have my coffee in it tonight. So cheers to all of those of you that showed up tonight. I sure appreciate it. Let's just check out the chat here and we will get started. No post show, so I'm not in a super hurry tonight. I hope you're okay with that. Do you want to hang out, answer some questions, give you kind of an update with what's been going on in my world, and I will be doing some live streaming from a different channel for a client of mine, and that will be fun. If you'd like to know anything more about that, you can go to lifejourneyproductions.com, my page. You can subscribe there, and then we can email back and forth and just ask me that question there, and I'll let you know where you can go or send you a link so you can watch that happen. So that'll be for a client, but I will be hosting and doing some lives there. That will be really exciting. So let's figure out why I have this little screen open here. And let's get the chat back up here. I'm on the right link, chat on the air, and let's say hi to David. It's good to have you, David. I did watch your video tonight, and I wanted to give a shout out to David Oastler. And a little bit later, I do want to show you a couple slides. I do want to get to tonight's topic, but I did want to give a shout out to David for joining us tonight. And I do have a link to David's new video. It is a wireless transmitter and receiver for video. We'll talk about that later. I have some pictures ready, but we're going to talk about audio interfaces first. And if you are using an audio interface in your live stream that may be different than one of these, I'd love to hear from you, as well as if you're using these, that would be really cool. And then I even have a still image of still image of David's video today. And in that still is a audio interface. And I thought that's really cool. And I'll share that later. You can see what he's using as an interface. So David, keep that secret for a little bit. And then also, it's good to have you here, Bill. Better late than never. So we just unboxed a new little bobblehead, and I'm really super impressed with this little statue bobblehead. It's from the new Batman movie, and you can see it's just barely off camera on my PC top there, and that's probably going to stay there. I think it's pretty cool. He got Batman bobbling his head at me right now. That's pretty awesome. So thank you so much for joining me, and you're welcome. David, I think that popped up there, did it not? Hello, Chicago, let's clear that. And let's see if I can get this to pop up. Yeah, so David says hi, and you need to go over and check out his video and subscribe to his channel. He's been pretty supportive over the years, and I appreciate, as well as many other people here on the channel. And that video caught my attention today, and I've been looking for a wireless transmitter, and we will talk about that here in a little bit. So, okay, I think I've hit all of the chats. If you are on live with us tonight and you can't chat, it's because I do have subscriber only chat on. So all you need to do is subscribe and to the channel. And then again, like I said, it will give you the ability to chat in about 5 minutes. And the only reason I have that on isn't to try to get you to subscribe. That's really not the reason. It's because I did have some spam a while back and talked to another live streamer, and that person suggested that I turn on subscriber only, and I'd never tried it. So I definitely don't want to limit anybody from coming. And obviously anybody can watch and be with me live, or anybody can watch it delayed. I do replay chat in my recorded videos, and you can see I am recording tonight. So I am recording, and I'm not trying to stream at 32 megabytes a second this week. I am streaming at regular streaming high, not HyperDeck high by mistake. Last week I had HyperDeck high on, but believe it or not, we were able to pull off a live stream. Also, I want to let you know I did a real quick little video. It's audio only, I mean, no talking, and that's on the cover for my Rodecaster Pro, and we'll use that as a quick segue to talking about what our topic is tonight, and that is audio interfaces. So obviously, if you're going to use a PC, right, and you're going to have a microphone like this, and you want to be able to have audio for a number of things, like you want to play audio from your computer into speakers, and you also want to have more than one microphone, then you're going to need some type of audio interface. And so I think I have this ready. What do I want to put in here? Let's just try this here real quick. What am I going to do here? See if this works tonight. Yeah, I think this is going to work. So let me try a slide in here and see if this works. Yeah, that's not exactly what I wanted. I need to turn one thing off here. Okay, you're going to give me trouble again tonight. So let me go in here and fix this real quick. We'll go back to this camera. Let me go into Super Source. I don't know why this is not working tonight, but I've been having issues with this. So let me switch to that Super Source, dragging in the background, making sure that my art is background, media player 2. Cool. So I'll put this on the screen so you can watch me play with this. So now I've got the background. We're going to go into box number 2. And box number 2, we are going to choose. Now, again, this is Super Source in the ATEM Mini Extreme ISO. You can do this also in the Extreme. And then if you get the new ME2 or the ME4, they have Super Sources built in as well. And the ME4 has 2 Super Sources built in, but you do not have that in the new rack-mounted um, ME1, it does not have super source. I do not know why. So we will go into ME2, and I want to choose media player 1. There we go. So now let's move these boxes around. Might as well do this live. It's not that I don't know how to do this. I thought I had one set up tonight. We'll put that there right now. We're going to make me smaller. I could also turn on crop. So for the fun of it, while you're here watching me live, I could turn on the crop and crop myself a little bit on the left and crop myself a little bit on the right. And then I can go back and move it a little bit further this way. And now we're going to go to this other input, which is super source box number 2. And move it over and up right there. And obviously I could be doing this also in Mix Effects, but I'm gonna just do this live for you. And we'll do it like this. So this is the Focusrite Scarlett. And the Focusrite Scarlett is one of those options. There's a lot of these interfaces. They retail from anywhere from like $125 to $200 and some dollars. They are a USB interface. You can use them with your PC. And many of you guys know I've been using the Rodecaster Pro for a long time. And I have it right here in my hot little hands. And so this has been a great interface. It's got 4 inputs, 4 mic inputs. It does not have 1/4-inch inputs. You also have 4 headphone outputs, and then you have the ability to send it right and left to speakers in your studio, or you can split this a number of ways and also send it to a streaming device like an ATEM Mini, Mini Pro ISO, Extreme ISO, or even some of the newer interfaces. But you only have these 2 outs, and a lot of these interfaces like the one right there, and we'll talk more about the Rodecaster Pro here in a minute, and then the new version of the Rodecaster Pro. A lot of these interfaces don't have a lot of options for outputs, and because of that, there's been a lot of people that are trying to do Zoom, they're trying to live stream, have more than 1 microphones, and you can see this right here has 2 XLR inputs. Those are Neutrix, so that means that you can do 1/4-inch, so you can plug a guitar into it. You can turn phantom power on both of those channels, and there's a number of different interfaces out there like this. Obviously, Focusrite isn't the only one that makes an interface like that, but I'm familiar with Focusrite because I had one of my first interfaces that I ever had for being mobile with a PC, a laptop, was a Focusrite. And obviously, it's been updated over the years, a lot better features, a lot quieter preamps, but it's a viable choice if you only need 2 microphones. And you can then split the outputs and go then to your speakers, and then have like a HOSA switch like I use in the studio, and then switch to your ATEM when you don't need that on, those speakers in your studio on. Like I don't have my speakers on in the studio right now. I can use headphones. So if I want to check the audio, I can check my Rodecaster Pro version 2 with these. And then right here, I have headphones for my ATEM. Now, in reality, the ATEM has a built-in kind of audio interface. So you literally have 2 microphone inputs in that device, and you could do you could use that with microphones. But again, an interface like this would give you more options for like using your PC for a Zoom call, going live from OBS. There's just a lot of reasons why you'd want an interface. And then if you're going to use an ATEM Mini, Mini Pro ISO, ATEM Mini Extreme ISO. If you don't know the difference, the Pro Minis have the Mini ATEM, the Mini Pro ISO. They have 4 inputs and 1 HDMI output. Then when you get to the Extreme and Extreme ISO, you then have more inputs, 8 inputs, 2 outputs. And then there's some differences between the models. Like the Mini does not have the ability to record to a disc. You have to come out of the USB-C directly to some kind of software and then stream from a Mac or a PC. But once you get to the ATEM Mini Pro and Pro ISO, you have the ability to stream from them. or you could use the USB-C and still go to a computer and stream that way. But you do have the ability to go directly to an Ethernet output right out to the internet from the interface software. So this is one of the choices. And when I'm working with clients, I do recommend this because most people aren't going to try to do a podcast like I have with four guests. And in reality, if we have my wife and her co-host as well as a couple, then I have to not be in the podcast. I can produce it, but I'm no longer a voice inside the podcast because the Rodecaster Pro that I've been using, again, technically it only has 4 inputs. There is the ability to bring a caller in, so I could be a caller into the live stream, as well as a Bluetooth in on the new Rodecaster Pro version 2. But this actually has on the back a TRRS input, and it also has a 3.5 millimeter headphone input, which matches channel 1, headphone 1, which is right here. So you have headphone 1 right here. And let me go to a bigger view here. You've got headphone 1 right here, and this right here matches it. And you do not have that in the new Rodecaster Pro version 2. You still have 4 headphone outputs in the back, and you have the ability to Bluetooth into it if you want to bring in a caller, but it no longer has this phone input, which is, again, TRRS. And so, again, you gain some features, you lose some features, and that's one of the options. And I really believe that the ATEM Mini still would work really well, or the Pro ISO, or the Extreme versions, as well as the new ones, would still work great with an ATEM, with a Pro or with a Focusrite. They're great interfaces. You just have to decide if you want more channels than that. And so I did put some links. I don't have any video links here for the Focusrite. I will do some more research and I'll pop that into the notes. But I do have some links here for some of these other items. So let's drop a couple of these others in. And I'm going to blow through these really quickly, and then we'll do some talking. Then there's the Mix Pre, and sorry I don't have a transparent logo. That is a PNG, but when I drop them into the still image, they don't show transparent, and I'm just doing it the fast way. So again, this is the Mix Pre. I have mine right here. That they have a new version of it, but here's the Mix Pre. And now when you get into a Mix Pre, and let's switch here, you get closer to this, and it's booting up right now. When you get to this, you have these 4 channels, but you also have 2 more channels in this. You have a 5 and 6, and you have a stereo mic in right here. It's a 3.5. So you could bring something in there like a wireless kit that has 2 receivers, like the new DJI mic, or like the Wireless Go mic that has 2 transmitters with 1 receiver. So you could bring those in and use that. So now with this little Mix Pre 6, which I use for mobile audio, like if I'm doing a video or a commercial, or I'm doing a talking head shoot, I don't take my Rodecaster Pro, though I can. If I was going to do a live podcast, I can take my Rodecaster Pro kit now because I have the new Rodecaster Pro 2 in the studio. So I have the other one here because I can take it mobile now. I have 4 microphones with 4 stands. I have plenty of headphones. I have 4 headphones. So I can literally take that mobile, have 3 people with me, be the producer, be able to moderate that, and still bring in another caller if I wanted to. So could have 5 people on a podcast with that unit. I could do 6 people with this, though it doesn't have the built-in functions to be able to bring in a live caller. I'd have to have another device to do that and then adapt it into this input. So again, there's ways of doing that. This will do mix minus, so will the Rodecaster Pro. And mix minus is simply when you have someone on a Zoom call or you have a guest calling in, you don't want to send their audio back to them. Like right now, I don't want to hear the audio from my speakers because we would get a loop and a feedback. So my speakers are off and I have to pull out headphones if I want to hear my voice. Well, it's the same thing if you have a guest. The reason you have mix minus is you're sending them the mix minus their voice, so they don't hear themselves because they would get an echo talking through the podcast and it comes back in their headphones. and it would make everybody crazy. So that's why you need mix minus, and we'll talk about some of the changes in the new Rodecaster Pro version 2. And there's some great videos here. I have a Tom Buck video who graced us with his presence a number of weeks back when I was doing my Rodecaster Pro version 2 live stream. And so thank you so much for Tom being here. So I have a link to his video. I think he has 4 videos, maybe 5 now, on the Rodecaster Pro version 2. And yes, that's fine. Go on over there and see his videos because they're great videos. So it's on right now. So I can adjust each one of these channels individually. And I'll go to this other view here, turn my camera back on here, and I'll cut to this real quick. Turn on, please. There we go. So let me cut back to camera 3 here. And so I have the ability, so I can click on each one of these channels and it comes up on the screen and I can adjust the gain. It's a touch screen. I can solo the channel. It flashes when I'm soloing it. I can mute a channel. It goes red when I'm muting it. I can pan, and I have a pan control right here on the side. So just like the new Rodecaster Pro has a knob that you can use for other features, this has that same type of knob. And so I can unpan that, I can unmute it, and each one of these channels can be controlled like that. And there's all kinds of settings. I can set up mix minus. So it is a real powerful interface, and they have a version 2 of this now. And they made some updates. It has better computer in it. It has just better quality preamps, just an upgrade. And I put a video here in the link, I believe, to Curtis Judd's video on the mix pre version 2, the differences between the old version and the new version. And this is not inexpensive, so I've never updated it. It goes in my travel bag, which is right here. So this literally drops in this travel bag. This is for doing live video production with wireless microphones or a boom pole or both. And so it just drops in here. I even have the interface cable tucked inside of here. This will let me interface with my PC literally and power it at the same time. So I could have this plugged remotely into my laptop and use the battery on my laptop to run both the laptop and the Mix Pre 6. And they have a 3 version. They have a 10 version. So there's lots of these available. And I'll show you guys some links to those sites later. And then let me turn it off. The other thing I like about this is not only can you power it with a power cord, you can also power it with batteries. So you can use MP batteries. There's an adapter for that, which I keep right here inside this bag in the front with a lot of my cables. And so I could switch to my MPF batteries, which I use for my port keys monitor when I'm out there shooting with my Canon 5D Mark IV or my EOS R. And so the battery pack just pops in the back. Also in the back, there is a tool built in, which is great. So you have the little Allen wrench, and then it has the ability to go right on top of a tripod, as well as you can mount a camera to it. So this could be on the tripod, and then the camera could be mounted to it. And I love that feature. So if I'm shooting remotely and I want to run the audio through my camera, or I don't, I just want to record directly here and then send out a signal to the camera so I can line that up later, then I can record right to an SD card, and it pops out of the back right here. So I actually have a Mix Pre 6. Never really talked that much about it, but I absolutely love this. So if I'm doing any remote shooting, this usually will go with me in the bag, and I can actually then use my wireless microphones with this, and they can then just be mounted in on the Velcro in the back. So you can lose the bag and instead put wireless microphone receivers on here, which is great. And so I love these bags. This bag is made, who's this by? I can't remember. Let me set the Mix Pre down. It is made by, I thought I just saw, K-Tech. And so I'll look this up as well and put an Amazon link here later tonight. You guys can come back. But then it has the rain cover on it. And so you can still see the controls and make sure your audio levels are really well. And I love it. I've been using this for about 3 or 4 years now. And if you are going to get one, I'd recommend getting the version 2. And if you only need 6 microphones, you don't need to get like the 10 version. And if you only need fewer microphones, you can then get the Mix Pre 3, and I would really highly recommend it. And you can probably find the one I have used somewhere because people have updated. So we'll set that down. And again, the cable will go in there. So let's just take a break here real quick and get caught up here in the chat. I will put my logo back in here real quickly. Let's just get caught up in the chat. Switch back to that view and go chat on the air. And let's just see what you guys are saying. Good to see you here, TVJ. We've been talking about, well, we unboxed my new Batman Bobble Head. We've been talking about the audio interfaces, and a little bit later, if I can quit dropping things, we are going to talk a little bit about David's video. David's with us tonight, and he did a great video on a new wireless transmitter receiver setup, and I'm excited to share a little bit about that. We'll look at it as well as finish talking about the other devices that were on my still image tonight that could be great audio interfaces if you need one. So again, shout out to TVJ. It's good to see you here, Doug Force. Thank you for joining me. And David says he would love to have a Mix Pre. Yeah, maybe that's something we could talk about someday. But I noticed you have a pretty cool audio interface, and I'll show a still image of you later doing your new video here. Well, let's just do it right now. Let's do a shout out to Dave right now. I'm going to just drop this still image right over top of me. Here is Dave doing his video, and he's got that new device in his hand. David's there on the channel. You can see his chat there, and that looks to me like you may be sporting a Rodecaster Pro of some type there, David. So maybe you should let that cat out of the bag now, and we'll look a little bit closer at that device. But I took that still image today. I hope that's okay. I did reach out to you, and I do have your video in the notes tonight. And if you haven't subscribed to David's channel, go ahead and subscribe to that. As always, it's great to see you here, Tony. Tony also has a great channel, and there's a lot of people on the live streams with me each week that have channels, and I think we should support each other. So please consider going over there and subscribing. Cool. Well, it looks like I caught up to the chat, and LOL is probably yes. You have some kind of Rodecaster voice there, and I think you're using the Mesa mount, and so please let us know about that in the chat tonight, David. That would be cool to learn more about how you have your Rodecaster Pro version 2 mounted there in your studio. And he does have a real cool studio. Again, take a look at this still image. You can see his studio behind him. Not all of it, but I see a cool guitar there, some pillows, lots of monitors. He even has his multi-view behind him as well, and that's pretty cool. So shout out to David over there at his channel in the great Australia, big island, but down under. So it's great to have you live tonight. So obviously this is that Mesa mount that's on the bottom of the new Rodecaster Pro version 2. So you can use that as a mounting as well as hooking onto a tripod. And so that's kind of cool. I have mine sitting on my desk. I haven't mounted it yet, but I'm actually thinking about having some kind of swing out bracket. We'll see. I don't know if the cables can move without getting issues or interference. So I'll keep that in mind before I do that. So let's switch back over here to SuperSource, and let's talk about this device. So, and turn off these two. So this is actually the Zoom, and I'm just looking at my notes here. I've never owned one of these, but I've always thought about it. This is the Zoom F8N Pro. So new device available out there in the world, and I did want to go to that page and bring that up here into the chat. So let's go me in a desktop here. So here is the Zoom's page, zoomcorp.com. You can check it out, and you can see that this is kind of their new flagship. I knew about the F8, but it wasn't until I watched a video over on one of the live streamers channels that I follow a lot. That's Curtis Judd. He's kind of an audio guru, and watched his videos. And so I'm learning about these kind of devices, and I've always kind of kept my eye on them. I obviously went down the sound devices MixPre 6 row instead of the Zoom lane. And so because I have the MixPre 6, I've never really invested in a Zoom. But I have a roll-in device where the batteries don't work anymore. So I can only power it through a power cord. And it had a stereo microphone, a dynamic microphone, and a condenser microphone all built into one. And I love that device to pick up sounds like anything out there, like birds chirping. So some background audio for videos that I was producing years ago for clients. And so I used that, and I haven't really used it ever since it failed on me. So it's just been sitting in a case, put away. So I'm probably going to get something handheld to be able to do some stereo recording again. And I could always use these as an interface as well. So you can see that it has lots of cool features. So you can see the display, you can see all the channels that you have on both sides of this device. And again, this will work as an interface. So you have input controls, you have the USB port, you have the nice 2.4-inch display. I have that LED display on my MixPre 6 as well. And so it's kind of nice to have that. And even though the display on the Zoom flagship F8N Pro is a little bit bigger and you can see a lot more things on it, I think it's probably just a better thing to have if you were going to use this for a podcast somewhere remotely, or you were going to use this as your portable recorder. The preamps are very good now on these devices, as good as probably the MixPre sound devices, maybe not quite as good, but now you have preamps with low noise, high gain available even in the new Rodecaster Pro version 2. So all of these devices kind of compete in the same space when it comes to audio interfaces, but you do need to have some way to get audio into your live stream. So either using the microphone inputs on your ATEM or using a device like the Focusrite Scarlett and having two inputs, or getting a device that has more like the MixPre or the larger Scarletts. But again, the Zoom has these features, and they also have a 10-channel version. But you can see it's just really loaded with headphones. You have a 10-pin mic connector. There's lots of things that these are offering now, and here you can see it hooked up. 32-bit float recording, 8-channel, 10-track field recorder. So 10 tracks, 8 inputs. So like I have 4 inputs, and then I can do 6 on my little MixPre. You can do 10 in the mix on this, and you have those Neutrik inputs, so you can do quarter-inch plugs, or you can do XLR plugins, and that's great for what you're going to use these for. So you have USB has 8 ins and 4 outputs, USB audio interface. So again, you can use this for Zoom. You can use this with mix minus. And even though I've never had one, and I'm not an expert at all on the Zoom products, I wanted to say that it's got a great reputation. There's lots of people that are using Zoom products. You can walk into Best Buy and find some of the smaller models here in the United States, and a lot of the other places, just simply walking in the store, and you can pick up sometimes the 4-input version or the dual input version, and sometimes even the smaller handheld Zoom recorders. But lots of things here, and it is a great device. I don't want to go too far into this because I'm not doing a review and I'm not really trying to get too far into this, but this is their new flagship. So this is the one that I would say look at if you need that much of an interface, that many devices, then you could use that. And they even, Zoom has made controller surfaces to work with some of their devices as well. So check out their website. That is zoomcorp.com. Again, this is not affiliated or is not sponsored by any of these devices that I'm sharing with you. Let's go back here real quick. Let's see, back to channel 2. Let's go to me. I don't want to do that. I'll lose my layout. So let me put some chat on the air here. And David answered the question. Let's get that up there. There it is. It says, I just mounted it to a Rode boom arm, and I've attached a ball head to the boom arm, and I'm using a Swiss Arco mount connected to the Podcaster. So Rodecaster Pro version 2 is in David's studio, and this is how he has it mounted right here in the chat. So thank you, David, for sharing that. And I look forward to, like I said, one day of seeing a tour of your studio. I'm sure there's a video on your channel. I just have not watched it yet. So I'm always fascinated by how other people have their studio set up. And so check out, again, his channel. Well, that's a great segue, Jay, to what Aaron Parecki is using. So let's go back to SuperSource here. Let's do chat off the air. And let's go back here. And let me drop in another slide here. And that is this slide. So, wow, once again, my screen is taken over. Let's see, I need to go back to box 2. Why are you? That's what happens when you push a button in your macros. It switches the SuperSource in the background. So this is the Behringer. It's an 18 channel. I do have their page up here. Aaron Parecki is using this device. There's many other streamers that I watch that are using this device. This is rack mountable. One of the biggest advantages is this, which people are saying, I've never owned one, never touched one, though I'm familiar with the Behringer products before. I've literally operated Behringer boards before, but never this one. So it's rack mountable, and look at all the outputs it has down there. So if you're gonna do multiple outputs, like you have one set of speakers in your main room and another set of speakers in your control room, like if you're going to do music production, or if you need to send it to another place in your house, like you're going to have 2 rooms for your live stream and you want to be able to route audio to speakers in there. Look at all the inputs and look at all the outputs that you have with this device. So let's find Behringer's page here. And let's see, let's go back to, this is the culprit. This is the one that's changed my SuperSource in the background. But this is the Behringer XR18, and you can see down here, there's an X and an XR. So there's 2 versions of this. If I remember the story right, and the link is below to one of the live streams that Aaron Parecki did, and I listen to his live stream every week on Sunday if I can. Sometimes I have to listen to half of it delayed because some Sundays I have commitments. But usually when he goes live at 10 o'clock here, in the Northwest in the United States, I can tune in to at least the first 45 minutes and then watch the rest later. I've seen him go a couple hours. He is great at teaching live streaming tech. He works with the YOLO box and does videos on it. Another great streaming device, ATEMs. He has the new, he's ordered the new ME2, I believe. I think it's the ME2 he's waiting on. No, he was loaned an ME2 and he has the ME4 coming to his studio. So he's got a crazy studio, even has the video hub. So that's 20 in, 20 out. And I don't know if he's going to update to the 40 hub. That gives him the ability to route any input, video input, or even like a camera or a PC or a Apple TV or a Chromecast. He can route it, any input to any output. And that just makes things a lot easier than the way I'm running my studio, where I have splitters going to multiple monitors, and then I have to use the two HDMI outputs inside my Extreme ISO to route what input I want to go there. So I could have it multi-view, I could have it program out, I could have it any one of the inputs, because there's a matrix built in to those two outputs in the Extreme, and there's a matrix built into the ATEM Mini, Mini Pro, and Mini Pro ISO as well, but you only have one HDMI out, and some of you may be using that as your streaming out for a web presenter or something like that. So you got to be careful then if you're going to switch from program to multi-view. Everybody that's live is going to see that as well. But what I love about the idea of this device here, the Behringer, and a reason that Aaron Precky said he got it is because of the outputs. And he has to then, where I have mix effect opened on my iPad and I use it in every live stream, he has the software to the Behringer opened on his laptop. So in order to control it in a live stream, he has to have the software opened up on his iPad, excuse me. And he uses PC the same way I do, and that's to show things on the screen or take people to his own channel to show him some of the things that he created and sells. So again, check out Aaron Precky's channel. He has a Behringer, and here is all the information. You have the X, the XR18. You have the Midas legendary sound built into it, and that's in professional boards around the world. And Behringer has gotten more and more quality. There was a time back when I had my recording studio that they were kind of in the bottom 40%, and they have slowly over the years started to really dial things in. Obviously, the electronics and the technology is getting less and less expensive, and so they can still be competitive and have good preamps in their devices. And obviously the more channels, the more preamps, the more you're going to pay for these devices. So if you don't need 8 channels, or you don't need 16 channels or 18 channels, then it doesn't make sense to invest in that. But there are advantages when you get these better rack mounted or desktop interfaces, because they have more outputs. And like in a live venue, you may want to send a separate mix to monitors or to in-ear monitors. And so the more auxiliary outs you have, the more ability you have to send what you want to different locations, where in my studio, I can send to my monitors or I can send to my ATEM. Those are the only 2 places I really need to send inside the studio. But if I was in a bigger studio like I used to have in my recording studio, then yeah, I had a PreSonus 24 channel. It had 8 outputs, auxiliaries. If you stereoed them, you had 4. So I could send 4 sets of separate mixes to stereo headphones, or I could send 8 mixes out to 8 headphones into my studio when I was doing production and doing recording. And rarely did I have that many people ever recording at the same time. But if they were sitting around inside the main production room listening back, then they could all sit in there with headphones on. I could have 8 people. So I could have the band, I could have maybe a spouse, maybe the producer, our producer. I could be out there, and we could all be listening with the headphones because we had all those outputs. So in that scenario, those outputs really do make a difference. So again, I have a video linked below in the comment, in the description tonight, to a video on the Behringer, and it's just a Q&A moment from Aaron Precky's channel. There's plenty of other videos here on YouTube that you can go check out. But this rack mount might be the way to go too, because again, if you don't want that big device on your desk, you could have it in a rack underneath your desk, and then use your desktop PC or an iPad or a device to be able to do all your mixing and controlling from it. So that could be an advantage for you. I like to be able to put my hands on the faders, and I like the LED screen to be able to see levels and all of that. So I'm going to use what I have in my studio, and that is, let's switch back over here. And let me drop in this device right here. Let's go this way. And I'm now using this device, which is the new Rodecaster Pro. And I love it. I've had it now. This is the version 2. I have the original Rodecaster Pro here. I got it shortly after it came out, mainly because it was designed for podcasting and it was perfect for that. We did add video to our podcast, so I could simply record on the SD card. There's a micro SD card here on the back, and I could record on that. I could either do it pre-fader or post-fader. What that means is that I could have all the levels set and mix it later in software. Like you could do it in Pro Tools, you could do it in GarageBand, you could do it in Adobe Audition, you could do mixing in DaVinci Resolve. You could use all kinds of different types of software to do a mix, and then add your effects later. And I have some high-end effects that I've spent thousands of dollars on back when I was in my recording studio. But now a lot of the perfect effects are built in. And so I use the built-in effects for my podcast, but I could record to the disc either with the effects on or off. I could record one stereo output or all of them. And I can also bring all of the channels into my software. So I could literally still record inside Pro Tools or record inside Persona Studio One software like I used to use in my studio, because I had a big interface by Studio One, and it was amazing. So you can still do that with the Rodecaster Pro or the version 2. The version 2 just has a lot more effects. And if you go back and you watch my post-show last week, Ratso makes an appearance, and he uses one of the cool new effects from the Rodecaster Pro. And if you hadn't had a chance to listen to these yet, let me put my headphones on here just so I can enjoy this moment as well. You have these effects, and I can bring up the volume.
And then I can talk like this.
Or I can even talk like a robot. I can talk like that.
I can even talk like that. So these effects are amazing, and you can add those into your live stream. You could add music. So I can go into my pads and play my intro music, which is what I use, my Rodecaster Pro, into OBS to record my intro. And I just hit play, bring the volume up, and now you have my music that everybody says they've heard enough of. So again, hopefully that played music. Let me know in the chat. So I have the new Rodecaster Pro version 2. That's the interface of my choice. Again, because I'm not trying to send outputs to other places, I'm taking the 2 outputs that come out of it, a right and left channel. I'm bringing that into my HOSA interface, which is a 2 in, right and left in, and then 3 different outputs out. So one output goes to my 6G converter, so I can record the audio from the Rodecaster Pro 4K from my camera into my HyperDeck, or I can go into my ATEM. So one goes to my speakers, one goes to my HyperDeck through a converter from the Rodecaster Pro, and one goes to my ATEM Mini Extreme tonight. And I'm using channel 2 because I've been having a little bit of weird things happening in my channel 1, just some extra noise, and so I'm not using it right now. And I have so many things plugged in. And the Rodecaster Pro 2 really needs a good, powerful USB-C port. And my laptop is completely full, so I'm going to be doing some updating here in my studio because I want a dedicated, powerful USB-C port from my laptop to my Rodecaster Pro version 2, so I don't have any latency issues, which also can create noise. So just be aware if you're going to get a Rodecaster Pro or Rodecaster Pro version 2. The version 2 is a high-powered four chip processor, and it's already had 4 updates. So, and they're adding more and more features to it. It's a very, very, very powerful device. Here's a look again. I've already talked about this here on the channel, but here's a look at the profile view. Here's a look at the connections on the back. And again, you've lost a headphone jack on the front. You've lost the TRRS jack on the front. You still have the headphone 1/4 inch in the back, but you just lose the 3.5 millimeter version on the front. So now my headphones are plugged into the back, and I still can do all the things that I needed to do. I just don't have that extra jack on the front, which is great for like my in-ear monitors. So I'm gonna have to adapt them now to a from a 3.5 to a 1/4 inch jack in the back. I have one of those converters. I just haven't dug it out of the box yet to hook it up. So I do not use my in-ear monitors anymore until I get that situated. Now, the other thing that's really cool about that, let me just dive in here. And again, Tom Buck has a great video on his channel talking about kind of 5 unknown features or maybe underrated features, but I love the fact that they've updated the Bluetooth to Bluetooth out to Bluetooth speakers. So if you just want to buy some Bluetooth speakers, you can Bluetooth to them. You can Bluetooth to headphones now. You can also Bluetooth your phone in. It sounds way better. And just the preamps, which you can see Revolution preamps on the screen, they have way more gain. You don't need an inline booster anymore, like a cloud lifter or any of that. You have plenty of gain at 76 dB a gain now with this great little device. So not only do you have those new effects, you have better control with the pads. You can actually do MIDI controlling with the pads, so I can set that up to fade in, audio, fade out. So I love that. I haven't played a lot with that yet because I just have not had all the time that I'd like to dive in to the new Rodecaster Pro version 2. So I will have more videos on my channel. I hope you guys will watch those videos on the Rodecaster Pro version 2. So let's take some questions now. Let me cut back to my main camera here. We will put the logo back inside here and turn that puppy on. So that's kind of a look at some of the interfaces. I think I hit them all. I hit the Focusrite, hit the Mix Pre, we did the Zoom, we did the Behringer, and we did the Rodecaster Pro 2. Now, this is not a complete list. I literally had to decide tonight in the still image what I wanted to put in there, how much could I cover in a live stream. It's already been over an hour. I did take a little bit of time while many of you are getting here to unbox my new Batman bobblehead. But at the same time, I do want to answer any questions, or maybe if you have a question about the interfaces, maybe there's one you've had your eye on and you would like some feedback from the group tonight. There's people here that really know audio as well as people that know video. So let's go ahead and look at the chat here. Let's do chat on the air and we'll take that one off. Okay, David has the X Air 18, so awesome. So give us some feedback. Do you like it? How do you feel about it? Is it working for you? And then TVJ says, having something to be able to do front of house. And again, understand that some of these consoles that are used in these large venues or even outdoors, they have the ability to delay, right? So they have outputs. So if you have a giant set of speakers at the beginning up by the stage, and then you have another set of speakers halfway out in the audience, like at the bigger concert outdoor venues, or even gigantic indoor venues, then you can set delay so that that speaker that's the furthest away isn't hitting you after the speaker that's closer to you is. So it's kind of weird because you have to be in those zones to even know if there's delay or not. But it's pretty incredible what you can do with those large consoles and be able to mix the stage. Now, a lot of bands, a lot of mixing consoles have the ability to then go and mix the stage differently. They used to use a console for the stage and then a main console. And a lot of venues now, or a lot of people that travel and do mixing, they don't have to do that anymore because they can take a device with them and mix from that device like an iPad and do that stage mix, or have someone on the stage mixing the stage completely separate. So pretty incredible. Yeah, and if you add in mix minus, you really can run out of inputs very quickly. That is correct. I just saw that. Am I talking with a voice effect? Check. I am. That's classic. Test. I will have to add that to the mistakes I've made in a live stream, Tony. So you guys have been hearing me with a megaphone. That's better than that voice that sounded like
this.
And I thought you had to have the volume slider up to have that go live. So I just learned something about the Rodecaster Pro version 2. You don't have to have that on, which is a bummer, because I thought when I turned the slider down, I turned that effect off. And when I have the headphones on for my ATEM, there's actually delay. So it's great for checking to see if the audio is good, but it's not great for listening to audio. So these headphones here are live, right? But the headphones that come out of the back of the ATEM Extreme, keep in mind, there's a delay from the time I talk in this microphone. It goes into the ATEM Mini Extreme ISO. I have 4 frames of delay set, so my lips should be in sync for you guys. But when I pick up my headphones, once I add 4 frames of delay, there's a big delay in these headphones, or latency, whatever you want to call it, between what I hear in these headphones and what I hear in the ATEM. So sorry about that. That will make for funny playback for someone. I apologize, but thank you, Tony, for having my back on that right there. And TVJ said that as well. And let me just check one more time, because I'm behind in the chat and I don't hear any weird effects. So, okay, so if you have them Rodecaster Pro version 2 and you're going to display those effects live, learn your lesson. So, whatever. So, okay. Let's see. Good to see you, DJ Ware, for joining me tonight. It's good to have you. I want to do something else here real quickly. I don't think I've missed anybody else. David says the Rodecaster Pro, and I'm assuming the new one, right, David, is so much better than the XR 18. Again, I've not had one, so good to get your feedback. Freddie's asking a question of you, so you guys can go ahead and answer that in the chat. David says, I use the audio from the Rodecaster to chef the audio with EAMS, so I don't hear the delay. I guess I'm not really following that. And then here's a question. I have a streaming bridge, but I can't seem to get the port forwarding to work. Okay, I am not the guy to mess with port forwarding, but I'll tell you this. In my Unify system, my wireless network, my internet network in my studio, which is Unify throughout my house, I have a number of hotspots. They make some really cool wall-mounted hotspots that you can plug Ethernet in, as well as have a wireless hub. So there's one of those upstairs in my wife's office. She's a midwife, so she has Wi-Fi there. And then I have another one of those in my bedroom downstairs with an Ethernet port where I used to do live stream. I don't have one in here because in my son's room, I have a disk, and that gets me the wireless in the rest of the house downstairs. But you can add those hubs, and then you can go inside the app, inside Unify, and you have to open up a port. A lot of the networks now have blocked strange inputs and outputs. So you got to open up a hole, and that hole's open if you open it. I've never used my streaming bridge outside of my house. I really originally got it because I thought I would be able to have people call in, and I'm just not high tech enough. So I'm not the guy, but Tony is in the chat tonight. There's other people in the chat, DJ Ware. I'm sure those guys, if you reach out to them, they can answer those questions and maybe help you open up that port forwarding. So you're literally opening a door specifically with that forwarding port that you need to be able to send a signal out if you're going to broadcast to a streaming bridge in someone else's location or back. You would have to have that port open. I do not have that port open here right now, but my IT guy walked me through how to set that up. And then he cautioned me and told me, you don't want to leave that open if you're not having a guest come in or you're not being a guest someplace else. And with the updates in Zoom, I used Zoom to bring in guests, and I've used Zoom as a guest in other people's live streams, as well as video or VDO.ninja, which is a free plugin for OBS. And there's other ways to do a remote guest in or out. And you can go over to Tony at Quick Tech Solutions, and he did a video with 3 of the guys that a lot of times attend the chat tonight, as well, and like TVJ, and I think it was Conjoining Technologies. Oh, Joe is here. Hi, Joe. Sorry I missed you. So here they're already starting to answer some of your questions. But again, you just have to open up that port. You can use your streaming bridge inside the house. In fact, I plan to set up another location in the house. I haven't decided yet. My garage is too warm right now. I can cool it off with 2 air conditioners, but it would heat up very fast. I think it's about 90 degrees out, 92 today in the afternoon. So I may use that so I can do a live stream from my green screen and invite you guys in there. So what I would do is I would have my Rodecaster Pro out there broadcasting back into the streaming bridge in the studio. And I can do that just through an internet port. I don't have to have that set up. But there is software that you have to go in to the streaming bridge and set it up. I do not have the ability to bring that up today in the live stream, but there's videos out there to teach you how to do that, and I think these guys are talking to you right now. So I apologize. I wish I had a better answer to that. Okay, so let's see. Again, good to have you. Joe from Conjoining Technology is on a great channel. Go over and check out his videos. Joe's been rocking out some new videos over there. A lot of tech to do with some of the things we were just talking about, available on Tony's channel, as well as over Conjoining Technologies, also DJ Ware. These guys are rock stars when it comes to that stuff. And then TVJ as well. He's been working in the IT industry inside the TV world, broadcasting world. So these guys really are the go-to guys, and I'm honored that they're in my live streams every week. Okay, so I want to get back to this. David, thank you again for joining us tonight. I want to show you guys a new device that's quite interesting to me, and tell you to, as soon as we're done tonight, I'm going to try to get off the air here in about 10 minutes. They don't have a post show. It'd be starting right about 5 minutes from now. So I'll be back with the post show next week, depending on how this off-site event goes. I may not be able to be live next week, but I will let you guys know. And the stills will be up probably Friday this week, so everybody will know if I'm going to be live, as well as the post show. But saying that is that I'm looking for a wireless transmitter, wireless receiver. When Matt was in the studio, when we brought in not the Rodecaster Pro, but we brought in the DJI Ronin S2, as well as the Blackmagic Design Cinema Camera 6K Pro, and the Teradek, which has 1 millisecond of delay, the Teradek Spark. That's about a $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 device. I was on David's channel today, and he has a new video on a new device. And let me pop this up on the screen again. I should be able to go back here to Super Source. I'll turn that off, not fade to black. Missed that button. And let me drop this in here. Where are you? There you go. So this is a new device that is available, and I will get that up on the screen here. And I mean, I have never had this. It's by Accsoon, I believe is how you pronounce it. David, if that's right, give me a yes or no. But they have the CineView Quad, and this has about 60 milliseconds of delay, where the Spark had 1 millisecond. I reached out to David, and David said that it has very, very low latency, which is the same way of saying delay. And obviously, I have to do 4 frames of delay to get my lips synced up. And when I use my iPhone tethered to my Apple TV, just using the screencasting screen share, there's lots of latency. So I'm looking for a device that's not going to break the bank. I don't really want to invest in the Teradek. My experience with the Teradek Spark is it was very hot. So surprisingly hot even to the hands. So I'd love to know, David, if this is hot to the hands. But there's a number of things I really like about this. This is one of them. The antennas is one of them. The fact that it has HDMI and SDI, which David talks about on his channel. So go over, he unboxed it. He did a whole complete review on it. So go check out David Oastler at his channel. Again, the link is below to his video. But I love the fact that it's not super big. You'll be able to see it in David's hand. Here's the still image that I took from David's studio. He's holding it in his hand right there. I think both the receiver and the transmitter are about the same size. And you can see David sporting the Rodecaster Pro 2 there mounted in his studio. And I appreciate David for letting me talk about him tonight, and shout out to his channel. Great videos on cameras, on lenses, great photographer, but also now being courted by some of these manufacturers being able to do reviews. And so shout out to David and his channel tonight. But I love the fact that this is going to be able to be used with the NPF batteries. You can see that you have the ability to mount this. It's not super large. I'd love to find out, David, if it gets really hot. But this is another opportunity for a device that could be perfect for those of you that are looking for a device like this. So here's the website. David took us to the website today when he released his video. So I don't want to rain on his parade. I do want you to go over and watch his video tonight. But you can see you have 2 bands. You have a 2.4 gigahertz as well as a 5G. And that's quite curious to me. So I want to learn more about that. So I'm going to watch David's video again tonight because he covered that. So I will be watching his video after this live stream as well. And maybe David could be there responding to that. But again, you got 60 milliseconds delay, SDI, HDMI in. The transmitter range is 500 feet. David did a test in his video today of the distance. And then you can do up to 4 devices. And this is this new technology that's quite fascinating to me. You can use your iPad or your iPhone, download the app, and be able to use that as a monitor. So I would be curious, David, to know if there is a ton of latency when you're using those apps. So here is the site. You can see it's mounted right here on top of a camera. I can't quite tell what camcorder that is, but here's a closer look at the device, obviously. There's lots of pictures here. This is probably the best view of what it kind of looks on a DSLR. And so again, they're kind of large albatross type devices, but I'm looking for a mobile camera here or outside. And I would love to be able to hook up my new DJI microphone and walk out back with my camera and take you guys with me, and then walk from here to the other venue in my house, and then use my iPad to switch with mix effects, and then possibly my phone I could use as my monitor as I'm going out there, so I could see myself and not have to then use my monitor that's in my studio. So when I get my new camera, I might be able to just mount my phone as a monitor and use that when I walk around the room. So I won't be using it to tether anymore. So I'll have my iPhone as a monitor in the studio. So quite interested, David. You really got my juices going. And I would love to know if you think this is the perfect device. So, okay, so let me get back to this because I know what happens. It's a live stream and you guys are chatting, and I want to make sure that we are chatting together as well. So let me turn chat back on the air and let's just go through here. Make sure I haven't missed anything. And again, if you have lens questions, Freddie said this earlier, David can answer lots of questions about lenses. Also, he's a very knowledgeable about Sony, so check his channel out. Again, the link to his video is in the description below. You see if I can get this scrolling up and down. Okay. Okay, having a little trouble with my chat. Right now. So let's look here. Did my best. Thank you for saying, thanks to everyone in the chat for responding. No, David is not doing a live stream. He is only releasing, he released a video today on that device. It is the quad, the CineView, I think I'm pronouncing that right, CineView quad. It is a new device that I hadn't heard about before. So check it out. Check out his video. So he's not doing a live. It's just his video on his channel and the links below. I hope that answers your question. And that's cool. I'd like to know more as you get your new 6K G2. Again, the big difference in the new Blackmagic design pocket cinema camera 6K G2 is it doesn't have the ND filters in it. It should be a little bit lighter. It still has the articulating arm, same guts as the 6K Pro, just doesn't have the more expensive ND filters built in. I think that's the only major difference. And now you can use the camera gyro built into either the new version or the old versions, and you can use that to stabilize your footage. You need to get the new beta versions of DaVinci Resolve, but you can stabilize footage, and I hear it's pretty cool. I haven't played with it yet because I don't have any footage from a Blackmagic camera yet, though I have asked Matt for some footage so we can actually demo the footage before and after here in the studio in the weeks to come. So David says, yes, it's an amazing product. So I'd love to hear more, David. If you do more videos on it, I will be watching. And David says it does get warm. So the Teradek Spark got hot. I mean, it was hot to the hands, not warm, hot. So here in the United States, maybe we have it there in Australia too, David. We have this game called Hot Potato. So you take a hot potato out of the oven in foil and you play the game Hot Potato. It's not really a game. It's just something that you do as a family because you grew up with that concept. So you throw that at your boy and they catch it. And anyway, hopefully you don't burn anybody. Make sure you don't have the potato too hot. So the Teradek Spark is a hot potato. David says the app with the new CineView quad is amazing. Well, that's cool. And I think I asked you about latency. I don't know if you answered that. Probably did, and I just haven't caught all of the chat. Is that the company that makes the iPad cage with a battery mount? I'm not sure. That's a question about Accsoon? I'm not quite sure. Joe says, from Conjoining Technology, I have a limited success with wireless HDMI. Yeah, and obviously wireless HDMI is going to be impacted by going from one room to the other room. We tested the Teradek Spark here in the studio. I'm going to watch that footage back. I had actually Matt Elliott, who's one of the best sound guys I've ever met in this local region, maybe the best I've met, period. He was in the studio. I interviewed him, and he brought with him the Spark, the Blackmagic Cinema Camera Pocket Cinema Camera 4K Pro, and we had it all rigged up, and we actually left this room and went to another room. Even though we did not have the right LUTs, the picture does not look that great, but we could actually see the latency or any frame drops from the Spark because we had that set up. So I had the other end of the receiver plugged into my ATEM extreme ISO in one of the channels so that we could go remotely with that rig. And that happened right here live a number of weeks ago. I'll put a link to that in the description later tonight of my interview with Matt live. And I'm hoping to have Matt back to kind of talk about what he's learned about using the Pocket Cinema Camera 6K Pro inside the venue. They use it as a drum camera, back a stage camera, and he's been messing with LUTs. He bought a package of LUTs. We still need to go and kind of do some white balancing in the room because the white balance is really going to be different with every camera. And the challenge with white balances in a room like that where they have lots of colored LED lights is you really just kind of need to do your white balance based on the white lights in the studio where the stage is. So for the singer, for the speaker, that main area that you also have that white light on them, not just colored light, you really need a white balance for that. The difference is that backstage camera only sees the back of those people usually, or over to the keyboard or to the drummer. And so you still want to white balance that as well. And Matt asked me to help with that. So Dean Home 1, again, welcome tonight. He wants to pair it with the Ronin RS2. I'm not sure what you're pairing with the Ronin RS C2. So I must have missed something earlier. Maybe that's the streaming bridge. Again, the streaming bridge just receives the audio directly through the Ethernet port, and then it takes that and outputs HDMI with the audio embedded in it. So you're going to send the signal from an ATEM or a streaming bridge to or from a web presenter 4K or a web presenter HD. You can broadcast from those as well to a streaming bridge. And then the streaming bridge then has HDMI out, and you can go from a camera to the streaming bridge back to a studio, but it's mainly designed to stream to it. And then that person can bring you into a ATEM or another device that can receive an HDMI input. Does not have to be an ATEM with the streaming bridge, but you do have to have a Blackmagic Design product that can stream to a streaming bridge. So from here broadcasting to a streaming bridge, yes, it needs to be a Blackmagic Design device that can do that. One of the cameras now, I forget which one of the Blackmagic Design cameras with the firmware update can actually stream to a streaming bridge in a venue, which is really cool. So I even thought about using a Blackmagic camera to do that. I'm back into the studio. That means I don't have to take an ATEM Mini with me to another room. So that's an idea as well. And I haven't tested any wireless transmitters yet to see if they would work from another room. But I think the best way to go from a different part of the house, like the garage, down hallways and around the corner and through doors, would be to use a streaming bridge and come right through the network. The downside is my back porch and my garage does not have an Ethernet port, though I do have a long enough cord to reach there from places that I can plug in a switch. So, okay. So latency is good, but it depends on the camera. I'd love to know what cameras you've tested, David, so far. And this is a question, again, to Dean Home 1 from TVJ. So you guys can communicate there in the background. And then here's a response to what I was wondering. Has anyone tried Zoom ISO on the Mac? I am planning to build a Mac Mini for it. I do a lot of Zoom work. So I guess I can respond to that. I use my Rodecaster Pro. It has the ability now to either choose. So when you have the Rodecaster Pro version 1, you had one USB-C out. So that means that Mix Minus was built into that, and you could then use it for Zoom. The new Rodecaster Pro version 2, that one USB-C has two USB-C ports. So I have a USB-C port coming from my PC, my desktop. I also have that's USB-C 2 plugged into it. So I can use my Rodecaster Pro version 2 as an interface for my PC. But I also have it plugged into my laptop. And the USB-C 1 output of the Rodecaster Pro version 2 has really two interfaces built into one. And you can go to Tom Buck's channel. He covers this. But I think so does another link below. If you go to Curtis Judd's channel, link below, he also talks about Mix Minus. Though I did watch his video this week, and I saw a couple things that he's going to cover in a later video. So stand by for that as well, because there's lots to cover in the Rodecaster Pro version 2. But you can choose the chat input. It can have Mix Minus. The regular input, and they're both found as interfaces on your PC or your Mac. So once you hook up USB-C 1 to your PC or your Mac, then when you look in to the interfaces and see what's available to you, you're going to see, I'll bring them up right now so I can tell you what they say. I have Rodecaster Pro, let's see, main, I believe. Yeah, Rodecaster Pro main, and that's Rodecaster Pro 2. And I have Rodecaster Pro 2 chat. So the chat has Mix Minus. So if I'm going to use Zoom or some other software from my PC to chat with someone or bring in a guest, I'm going to use the chat function. And then if I'm just going to be live like I am right now, I could use just the main version. Then when you go to USB-C 2 out, don't confuse that with USB-C main, Rodecaster Pro main 2 and main 2 chat. You also have another USB-C interface that would show up on my PC. You can also plug in your phone via that other USB-C output and then use this as a playback stereo device. And I heard some issues with the phone talkback in that. I haven't tested it yet, so test that out. But you can play music back from your phone, but I do not think it's compatible for talking to that guest. We'll see. I may be wrong. But then you can also Bluetooth from your phone into your Rodecaster Pro version 2. And as I said earlier, you can go out from your Rodecaster Pro version 2 to Bluetooth speakers. So, and I do have Bluetooth speakers in here. In my studio, I have my Bose that are below my TV, and then I also have this little mini Bluetooth speaker, which was a gift that I won from the company I used to work for. And I have the sound effects from the Batmobile on here. Starting up from the movie. And I can play that anytime I have my little display Batmobile right there, all lit up and ready to go in a live stream. And I shared earlier that Batman on there fell off today. So, okay, so that is kind of a look at that wireless device, catching up with the chat. Thank you, David, for sharing that video with the world today. And I may be checking that device out. So I will be happy in the post show to talk about that, Joe. So I will make sure We talk about RV shopping for it and give you guys some advice in the post show next week. I won't spend a majority of the show on that, but I will address that, and I will be live from a local outdoor event that's going to be happening starting on Friday. I'll be live a number of times. That'll be on another business's channel. So you could also go check that out. And I will be talking about purchasing an RV on that channel. I'll be talking to some reps who represent different manufacturers of RVs. I will be in some RVs, though I have to be careful about going inside because I'll be going live from my phone out there. And I have limited use of some hot spots out there during the slow times of the day. So it'll be pick and choose when I can go live out there because we're paying for wireless internet out there, and I can't use up all that bandwidth because we need it for the event. But I've been working with a client that is an RV dealer. They have 4 locations, and I'm going to be at a off-site show in the week to come. So it'll be great to cover that next week in the post show, and I'll bring some pictures and some video footage from that live venue when we talk about that. So great. I love that. Thank you, Joe. Zoom ISO with a DeckLink Duo lets you separate Zoom callers. Yes, it does. Individual inputs to the ATEM Extreme ISO and have all the Zoom callers separated on your ATEM. Yeah. So the DeckLink Duo, which is a plug-in card into like a Mac or a PC, you have the ability to then decide what SDI you want to have as an output or an input. So you could bring in callers and then output them into different channels in the ATEM. So again, that's another choice. You'd have to have a pretty powerful PC or a Macintosh to use that, but the new Macs are very powerful. You just have to have a port or a empty spot to plug those cards in and then use them. And again, you could then use the ATEM control software and use it as a multi-camera in and a multi-output device, or just get the new 2ME from Blackmagic Design, and then now you have a DeckLink card on steroids with multi-view built in. So that would be enticing to me here in my studio at some point to get that. So okay, so TVJ would like to see that special as well. So I won't live stream from that venue because I don't know. I want to make sure that I'm in the studio for that Sunday night, but I'll bring some footage and I'll take some Q&A in the post show for RV questions because that's something I have 18 years of experience in, plus all my video production and all of that. That's why they are consulting with I'm a consultant with them for 90 days, and I have about 30 days left, and we'll see what happens after that. There is talk about me continuing with them as a client. We'll see how that goes. Okay. You're welcome. Good to see you. I think that means Tony is going to go over to see David's video. Again, no post show. I'm going to, after this live show here in just a minute, we're going to end it. I'm going over to watch David's video again, and I'm inviting you guys to go over and watch his video on his channel. Again, it's on that CineView quad device, which he opened up, unboxed, and did a review of, and did some testing over on his channel, and I wanted you guys to see that. And he's been coming into the live streams, and this is my opportunity to promote another live streamer and another YouTuber here on the channel like I love to do. Yes, and Adam Tao had us in a live stream together, Tony and I, and he used the DeckLink Duo card. I am aware that Adam bought that card. He also bought a little interface box because I think he was still using, at that time, his Mac Book Pro. Maybe he has an M1, I can't remember. But Tony and I had a chance to be on Adam's channel together to test out his DeckLink Duo card, which is really cool. So go over to Adam Tao's channel here on YouTube. I'll put a link again in the chat below to Adam's channel and that video that Tony and I were on, and which is cool because I got to interact with Tony and Adam. And Adam's been on my channel as well. He is the guy who authored and designed the app called Mix Effects. It works only on Macs, excuse me, not Mac, but iPads, iPad, or iPhones. It's not for other Android devices because he's not an Android designer. And I use Mix Effect here in my studio all the time on my iPad. So, okay. Thank you, Dean. I don't know really how to respond to the Zoom ISO stuff. So there's, again, what these guys are talking about. This is Tony. Zoom ISO. We talked about that. Technology agreed. Only drawback is Zoom ISO. And again, maybe you don't know this or not, but recently Adam Tao was hired by Zoom, even though he can't talk about it. He announced that on his channel. So he's working part-time, not only designing his apps, running his channel, but he's also working with Zoom to develop that Zoom technology, even though I don't have any details, I don't have any inside information other than I think it's really cool that Adam's a part of their team. You're welcome. DJ Ware, thank you for being with me tonight. Thank you, David. I did see that you only tested it on the Sony a7S III. Again, great camera. I wish I had one. I have mostly Canons in my studio, but that would be a camera I would take off your hands right now for sure. But again, I'm sure you like it and you're not giving it away to anybody. Okay, so I hope I hit all this, guys. If you asked a question and I missed it, please let me know in the chat. Lots of stuff tonight. And again, if you are listening and you have not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing to the channel. I am trying to grow this channel. It's under my name, Keith Bennett. It's Life Journey Production Studios, and we just crossed 1,300 subscribers, though I haven't been celebrating each one of those 1,100, 1,200, 1,300 landmarks. I am going to do something special when I hit 1,500. And so I have something in mind. I'm watching the numbers to see how that goes. So like and share the videos, and you're helping me grow. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Then you can chat with us. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate that. And again, many of you in the past have been on the channel. I thank you so much for doing that. We are going to wrap it up now. Audio interfaces for live streaming. You can do something as simple as a wireless microphone and an ATEM through it as an interface, or if you want to integrate more things in your studio, you can begin to get USB-C interfaces for your studio. And I guess if you wanted to, you could use a traditional console in your studio and use one of the outputs going in to your ATEM. If you're using an ATEM or a YOLO box or whatever you use to live stream, some of you sounds like you're using your Mac or your PC to live stream with deck link cards. That's great. Again, streaming bridges, you could go directly from a Blackmagic Design camera now to a streaming bridge and bring it in to a YOLO box, or bring it in to a deck link card, or bring it into an ATEM of any kind. And there's other devices out there. Roland makes some switchers. And so check out all that stuff. But audio devices are important because audio is a part of your live stream. And having a good microphone, this is the Shure SM7B, which no longer has a cloud lifter attached. And because it has plenty of gain now, when I plug it in directly to my Rodecaster Pro version 2 with all of that extra gain, I think 76 dB, if I remember right. So again, thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. Batman and I say thank you. Are you saying yes? Are you saying, what are you saying? Get it right here. Why are you just doing this? Oh, that's right. It's a bobblehead. So thank you so much for being with me. Let's go over to David Oastler's channel right now. Let's blow it up with lots of chat. Let's like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will be doing more of these type promotions of other YouTubers in the future. And it was great to have David tonight in the chat, as well as many of you that I get to see every week. Your little icons in your chat one day, very soon, when we hit 1,500 subscribers, we may be having a live stream with a bunch of people who have been on this channel for a long time on Zoom on this screen right here. We'll see how that works out. So check out the Behringer, check out the Zoom, check out the new wireless transmitter, the CineView quad, check out that Scarlett by Focusrite, check out the Mix Pre by Sound Devices, check out these interfaces. They're great choices for you in your studio. All of them would work. Some of them will do more things, some of them less, and the prices are all over the place. I will put some Amazon associate links in the description later. I don't make that my focus now, but if you use those later to purchase something, I would really appreciate it. So, okay, with that, I'm going to hit the outro, say goodnight, and head on over to one of my buddies' channels. So I will see you in the live stream and the post show, most likely next week. The live stream at 4 o'clock, 4 p.m. Washington time, again, daylight savings time, but it is Pacific Standard Time, and then the post show about 5:15, and we'll talk about RVs. Ratsa will probably make an appearance, and you never know, I might have some new Batman paraphernalia to share with you next week. Thank you. I am Keith. This is Life Journey Production Studios, and as always, have a great week, have a great time, and keep smiling.